What's up, everybody? Real with Omar, real people, real stories, real results, sometimes some real estate. I'm actually doing a pump-up session right now because my guest is none other. First of all, it's Jonathan Rio. Shout out to Jonathan. I see you, brother. And my guest is, he's done the show before. Very good friend of mine. One of the people I know longest in my life, basically. Butch Nieves, he's actually getting ready to talk. He's pumping up his arms.
Pumping up. Notice that I'm using twice the size of dumbbells that Omar's using.
Yeah, he's
just wanted to
he's definitely using
make note of that.
Bigger
so
dumbbells than I.
We're just pumping up.
Because at the end of the day, you have to show who's the bigger dog. Always.
It's always the competition, right? As always.
Butch, thanks for being on the show. We've been talking for a while. So the state of fitness, we were talking about it. Before, when we were younger, it was all about performance, right? All about bigger, stronger, faster.
Mm-hmm.
As you turn the corner and you start looking ahead, I feel like now it's more of just having quality of life and keep you continuously going, right? So you've definitely seen the different fads. You've seen CrossFit. You've seen this. There's high rocks. There's every type of modality out there. You have the HIIT room. We're in Hawthorne right now, right? What kind of workouts do you prescribe to people here at the HIIT room?
Well, it comes down to your goals at the end of the day and what you're capable of doing. So, unfortunately today I feel a lot of people, not unfortunately, I misspoke. I think it's more about, for a lot of people, entertainment.
Okay.
They want to be entertained during their workout, which is fine, I guess, for some people. We come from the old school where you get the work done, you go home and you live your life. Mm-hmm. So in today's world and in today's atmosphere, I think that the best kind of workouts are similar to the HIIT workouts where you do high intensity interval training and you do it periodically. Make sure the recovery is in your routine.
Okay.
Make sure you really recover. But again, it depends on your goals and where you currently stay.
Okay.
Like right now they're saying 10 minutes on a Standmaster or 10 minutes of high intensity workout is better than doing 10,000 steps.
Okay.
Not if you're 80.
Right.
Not if you're 60 and having trained in 20 years.
Yeah.
So it depends on what you're capable of doing is where you start. The first day you get out and you walk to the first mailbox. Mm-hmm. Second day you work to the second mailbox, and you go from there. So it all depends on what you want to do and what you're capable of doing at the beginning, because it's about smart training, not training,
not 0 to 60 in 30 seconds. So what kind of spectrum do you have here at the HIIT room? Like, who's your typical client?
Well, I guess our typical client is probably anywhere between 35 and 55, right around there. But we have some 20 years old and we have some 70-year-old.
Okay.
So it all depends. The thing that makes us different here is that we're very joint friendly and joint conscious. So we do everything on 2-inch backs to make it easy on the knees and on the back. Okay. We have a lot of recovery equipment that we use, and the workouts are strategized so you don't target all the muscles all the time. So there's time to recovery. Recovery is a huge thing. Again, I think I've said this in your last podcast, exercise is king, nutrition is queen, but recovery rules the court.
Right.
Absolutely. So you have to recover. And as you get older, I'm an older athlete.
It takes longer.
It takes longer. So that has to be set up in your routine. Right. You have to know, when am I going to recover? And that's super important.
So there's recovery because you're sore, and there's recovery from injury, right? So it's very important to know the difference, right?
Two different things.
So how do you gauge a client that might have got an injury or wants to push through, and how do you handle that? Because ego is a big thing too.
Right, but we simply listen. We talk to our clients. Okay. Exactly what you're looking to do. We have all our clients register in, so we know exactly what each and every client is looking to do and what their goals are. We ask what their concerns are and what their restrictions may be, so we can amend the workout. Now, if somebody, usually an injury comes with inflammation or sharp pain, something like that. So that at that point, the best thing is to rest. Right. That is the best thing. Depending on if you hurt your knee, you shouldn't be doing any kind of leg exercises for a while until it's really recovered. Right. So your job at that point is to recover. That's your training.
That's
job.
Your training.
That's your training. Doesn't mean you can't train the upper body. Doesn't mean you can't do a little set of triceps or arms or something like that. But it has to be conscious where you're going to let that knee recover. So that's super important.
Because look, I say this, and you don't have to incriminate yourself, but sometimes people have very unrealistic expectation, right? How do you cultivate where you can you can over deliver under promise. Like, we spoke about this off camera. They're with you 30 minutes out of 24 hours, right? A lot of the work is on your own. You can tell who's not doing the work outside, but how do you present that conversation?
Well, listen, I think, and I'm going to incriminate myself.
Of course,
I'm fine with that. I'm going to dive
I'll
right
open
in.
the door.
I'm going to dive right in. I'm a dreamer.
Okay.
And I always believe that you can accomplish almost anything that you want.
Right.
I mean, when I went for the Mr. America, everybody said, you don't have the genetics, you're an asthmatic, you have an enlarged heart. There's no way you're going to be able to do this. You just simply can't do it. And I was like, I didn't understand why I couldn't do it. I was like, yes, I can. I'm just going to keep plugging away until I get closer and closer. And let me see, at least give it the best shot I can do. So I feel that with anybody else, if they're willing to put the dedication, the discipline, and the consistency in, I think that they can accomplish it. It's what they're willing to do.
Right. What price are you willing to pay for Jim Rohn? Right. Like, there's always a price to pay.
Right.
Right. Are you willing to pay the price?
And if you can see the promise of the future, you'll do it for most people. But a lot of people today don't want to put that work in. They want to swipe an app and get what they want. And that's not the way fitness works.
It's a great statement. So we come from the 90s where it was very subculture, right? It was like very esoteric. Like, bodybuilding was like only weird people did that, right? And then
absolutely,
you remember that, right? Like, it was like weird. Right?
And there was a lot of weird people.
Yeah, there were weird people doing it too. Let's not be let's not take away from that. But as it became more mainstream, well, just health and wellness right now. That's the thing, health and wellness. Everybody wants to be well and healthy.
That's the goal.
And it becomes your standard. Right? Like, I have friends, right? I'm 50 now. I have friends be like, oh, I want to lose body fat too. I'm like, well, then change your diet. Nah, but what's the secret? Well, change your diet. There's no secret. It's just that is what it is. Going back to your statement about people wanting instant results. How do you work around that? Because it's bigger than you. It's a culture thing. It's a generational thing. Right?
Well, you have to get to their mindset. Like, another saying that we have is, I have to sometimes get through your mind and into your heart. Okay. If I can somehow get you to be consistent with eating healthy for a little while to fuel your workout so you can have a better performance on the mat, then you'll start seeing the results on your body and how you feel. Then from there, maybe you get locked in and you want to go a little bit further and eat a little bit better and rest a little bit more. And you see how you start to perform and how your whole life changes. Because the healthier you are, the better you do. Right. And everything in your business, in your home life, with your spouse, everything around you changes.
Clarity, everything.
And once you could get that little taste, it's like a drug, right? You give them that little taste, they're hooked.
Results are addictive. Yeah.
And at the beginning, that's what we try to do. We try to get them through their brain from what they're seeing on social media and into their heart, where it becomes more of a passion and saying, hey, this is the right thing to do. This is going to give me the longevity that I want, and the feeling and that overall feeling of wellness, that overall feeling that you get up in the morning and you're ready to go. Have
you ever had somebody walk in who had like almost like a medical condition and like, yo, I got to do something? Have you had that happen?
Oh, all the time.
And what is usually that conversation like? Because it has to be a culture shock. Everything they did to get them to that state has to now be deprogrammed, right?
Well, the biggest thing is always start super slow.
Okay.
Start slow. One of the problems, again, with the New Year's resolutions, everybody goes to the gym. I'm going to the gym 7 days a week, twice a day. I'm going to eat tuna fish and water, and that's it. And it's overwhelming, right? So anytime somebody comes in first, the first thing we want to do is make sure they start slow, maybe twice within the first week. Go very, very easy, lightweight.
So 2 workouts for the week. That's it.
That's what it is.
Just to get them kind of going.
2 to 3, depending on your history.
Right.
Depending on your history and what you're going. But again, we're talking about recovery, and I don't want to change too much in your daily plan at the very beginning. We want to incorporate little by little.
Like you said, it becomes overwhelming.
Right. It's like taking a job on. If all of a sudden I try to go work for you, and you give me the biggest complex or deal to sell or do, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
If you give me one piece of paper, get this filled out, go to the bank, and that's it. I can do that. But I can't take on everything. Fitness is very similar. Go one step at a time. Again, walk in, let's just get through the workout. Don't want you to get sore. I don't want you lifting heavy weights, and I don't want you to push yourself right away. Let's just get through the workout, get comfortable for what's happening, and then come in the next week. Okay, we're going to, instead of use 5 pounds, we're going to use 8 pounds today, or 7 pounds. And we're going to move her from there. This time we're going to move from station to station a little bit quicker, a little bit faster. And as the coach gets to know you, as we get to know you, and we push you a little further and say, hey, Omar, you did 10s last week. Let's try 15s.
And when you say get to know you mean capability wise, right?
Capability wise. And temperament as well. We have to know you, personally. It's to know exactly, can we push you? What is going to inspire you? Some people need to be, aggressively, come on, keep moving.
Right.
Another person's, hey, you can do it. You can do it.
Right.
I can whisper to you. So it depends.
So it's a relationship you're establishing.
Absolutely.
Right.
You have to know your crowd. You have to know your audience.
Know your audience.
Right.
And the crazy thing is, as we dissect what you're saying to me, it's more of a mindset shift, and it's a relationship shift of your relationship with, and when I mean the people. The people have to change their relationship with the way they eat, the way they sleep, the way they see things, right? Before it was just mindless.
Yeah, I just think you have to show them the benefits.
Right.
Once they see the benefits of that, then they lock in a little bit tighter. When they don't see the benefits, it's hard to, like making somebody go to work and never getting paid.
Right.
That's kind of the same thing. Okay, you're putting all this work and effort in, but you don't see any results.
But in the beginning, it's like you see the drastic change fastest, right? It's always in the beginning you see like
you feel it first.
Right, you're like, whoa, wait a minute,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Everything fits different. Like, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, you feel it first. All of a sudden you get out of your car and you walk to your house and you're like, oh, I'm not even tired. You're carrying up bags up a flight of stairs and you're like, oh, that was pretty easy. You spring out of bed without a problem. You're not so sluggish.
Mm-hmm.
You're not hitting that snooze button so many times.
Right.
So all of a sudden you pop up and you also think, and you start, for the most part, people like to go to the gym.
Yeah.
They want to get more motivated. Like, oh, I can't wait to get my workout in, because it knows, what you get from it.
Right.
So
you see the benefit.
Right, exactly. I'm not, people think that, oh, you must love to work out. I do not. I do not. Like, I work out for what it gets me.
Right. You know it's necessary.
I know it's necessary. I don't want to be in a wheelchair. I don't want to be, determined, or I don't want to be, what's the word I'm looking for? A burden to my family.
Right.
I definitely don't want to do that. So, and I think a lot of people, like before the old day, oh, let grandma sit on the couch. No, get grandma out and let her walk around.
Right.
Let her go outside for a walk. That's what you need to do. That's, make them stronger.
You know that I had my hips replaced 3 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So before that, I was always in decent shape. But like when you said jump out of bed, I'd get out of bed. I'd always be in pain. And I thought that was just part of life. I thought this is what it is. Like,
yeah,
it is. I'm 47. I guess this is what it's going to be, right? And then it got so bad where I had to hold my breath to tie my laces. I couldn't step up on stairs. Like, I remember there's certain things that were like, no, this is wrong. Like, I didn't have anybody to guide me through it, but I got to a point where I was like, yo, this ain't right. There's something got to give. This can't be it. This cannot be it. So when I went to get, I got the referral to the orthopedic surgeon, and he told me, he was like, hey man, what do you want? He asked me, shout out to Carl, Columbia Presbyterian, for doing my surgery. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm looking at your hips. He goes, I don't know how you're walking. So what are you taking? I was like, at that point I was still playing basketball. So I was like, I take a leave after basketball because it really hurts, but I just kind of walk. I just get through it. And now after the surgery, now I'm 2 years out, I'm playing basketball. I'm fully functional. And we'll do a workout later so you guys can see I'm fully functional. I'm so grateful every day because I'm just not in pain. So like I guess my relationship changed with it because I've always been kind of into it. But then there was a certain point in my life where I was like, yo, this sucks. Like this, and it fucks with your head. You're like, yo, man.
You could practically see why a lot of people get addicted to painkillers.
Yeah.
That same thing. I've had so many surgeries.
Right. Well, I want to talk about injury only to illustrate the relationship you have with fitness when you're injured, especially because now it's not that I don't want to do it. I can't do it. I can't do it right now. So then when people take away that option,
all right,
then all of a sudden you miss it.
You want to do it?
Yeah, all of a sudden, of course. I want to do this. No, you can't. But I want to. But, so talk about the times you've been injured and every time coming back, like how's that affected you and your love for fitness?
Well, I mean, right now, certain exercises hurt. Okay. At the very best.
Okay.
When I pick up a certain thing, I have, arthritis in my wrists. I have the knee replacements. I've had major back surgery. I have a cage on my back. So there's certain things that I have to do right now, but I know it's really, really important that I have to keep on exercising and strengthen the muscles around it as best I can. Flexibility is a really important thing. I want to make sure that I keep stretching. This way the muscle is pliable and I'm not that stiff. And, I think I went recently, unfortunately, I had a friend in the hospital and she was in a rehab center and I went to go visit her, and I'm 64 years old. So I'm walking through the hallways and I see a few 60-year-olds in bed, in wheelchairs.
Just done.
And it's like, I don't want to wind up like that.
Yeah.
And it's all because they didn't take care of themselves. They didn't exercise. They didn't eat right. Who's living on M&Ms? Who's drinking tons of orange juice thinking that it's healthy? It's not. And who's just wheeling around in a wheelchair? And it's like, wow, I have to exercise. I don't want to become like that. I think everybody at one point should go to a rehab center and see that up front.
I spent 8 years in one watching my mom. So I know exactly what you're talking
about. Yeah, it's you sit around and you're like, holy
It's sad. It's sad.
I don't want to do that.
On another part, I went to Pennsylvania a few years ago. My son was playing basketball. I walked into an IHOP and I was so shocked. Like, everybody in the IHOP was obese. So I
turn around now.
The state of America now, the state of America in most states, because New York and Cali, we're like the outliers, right? We kind of like, we trying to stay fit. We kind of do shit.
The majority is
right, but the middle of America is a whole different thing.
Yeah. No, you see a lot of obese people, unfortunately, and unhealthy people, and they don't focus on their health. And that's what's going to happen. Right now, I'm too busy. And then all of a sudden you have, when you have one health problem, that's the only problem you have, because that's the only thing you can deal with at that point. So it's really critical to emphasize, I have to do something physically. And the earlier you do it, the better results you'll get in the long run.
Right.
It's similar to like a bank account. Whatever you put in, you'll be able to take out down the road.
Right.
So if you don't start exercising now, don't think when you're in your retirement years that you're going to live a fruitful life and an active life.
Yeah.
And we live now, 70s, 80s, 90s. So after you retire, you still got 30, 40 years left. How are you going to live those lives? In a wheelchair?
Yeah.
Or
to break it down another way, right? The human body is like the greatest machine ever, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So hypertrophy, the breaking down muscle tissue to rebuild to get stronger. So in any working out, you're fatiguing your muscles to a point where they're breaking, and and the body intuitively rebuilds itself stronger to say, you're not going to fuck me up like that again, right? And then after months, if not years,
that's the goal,
right? You become almost superhuman, right? Because you've put your body through a stress, but you nourished it, rested it, so it could grow and adapt, right? And I break it down for people this way so that they can kind of understand, because they think it's very, bodybuilding is esoteric in nature. Like, most people don't understand it, right? And when I say bodybuilding, I just don't mean a gym. I mean working out, like lung capacity, VO2. Like, I could get real nerdy and geek out, but I think we'll lose a lot of people. So I try to break it down in a digestible format. Your body at 80 or 60 or 50 cannot go from 0 to 60 if you build a base when you're younger. And that's why I think I put my kids in karate when they were young, and physical activities, football, basketball, baseball, for them to kind of use coordination. You develop all these things. You can't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to do this. You're not going to hit a 90 mile an hour fastball just because you feel like it, or get a ball into a hoop, or hit a guy and knock him down without knowing technique. And that's based on repetition, but it's based on physical exertion, physically, but mentally. I remember when I first started playing baseball, I was a kid and I had no father figure. I would turn my face when the ball's coming, right? Because you think the ball's going to fucking fuck you up, right? Later on, you had to understand that you have to will it. You have to be able to grab it. And it's a mindset thing. Whereas if you've never done anything for your health your whole life, at 60, it feels so far away that it's almost self-defeating.
But it's also, just like you said, you put your kids into karate, you put them in different sports.
Right.
That enables you as an adult, because I think the other down thing when it comes to fitness is people are intimidated to go into a gym because they haven't been around a group of people or a culture like that. Right. So, and that starts when you go to the karate school, when you go to play sports, you're around groups of people that are doing something specific. When you start getting used to that, and now as you get older, now you feel comfortable walking into a gym. A lot of people, they even say, oh, I have to lose weight before I go to the gym. That's why you're going to the gym. That's the point.
Yeah.
But they're intimidated and they're shy about getting into a gym. And if you don't have that background, it's twice as hard. So that's the other thing we try to do here is try to lower down that intimidation.
Make it inclusive.
Come on in, don't worry, we're okay.
Right.
And we make sure that when we talk to somebody on the phone, they understand that. Like there's, not that there's no judgment like Planet Fitness.
Right.
There is somewhat of a judgment. Hey, we want you to show up and we want you to give me your best effort for the day.
Yeah.
Whatever that is, that's individual.
That's not judgment, it's accountability.
Yeah, exactly.
It's accountability. You're asking somebody to be accountable. Yo, I showed up. All right, so what are we doing now? And every time, going back to what you said, if it's walking to the mailbox, that was good day 1. Year 2, now what do we do?
We're moving on.
The standard is being raised because you become better.
Right. And I can't stand that saying of who said, all you got to do is show up. I call bullshit on that every time. No, you have to show up and you have to work as hard as you can for that particular day. Yeah. And that varies. Yeah. Some days when I was training for a top level competition, some days I killed the weights. And other days I just did the best I could.
Right.
Some days were just, I didn't sleep well. I didn't eat exactly the best way I could have. So my body wasn't fueled.
But you've developed that relationship through years
do the best you can.
of knowing yourself.
Right.
Right. But you can't know yourself until you test yourself,
right,
and push yourself. So I say this because people, like I play basketball still, rec league, right? And to the outside world, it looks crazy because you got grown men yelling at each other, cursing at each other, and after the game's over, you're high-fiving. Unless if you've competed, because it's nothing personal, right? It's just, yo, man, I'm in the moment. I want to get this done, right? And then after it's all done, you put it behind you. Going back to like bodybuilding, which is more individual, instead of looking at the guy next to you as competition, be like, yo, look what's possible, right? Yeah. You can't be 6'5" like him, but you can grow out your lats and your arms to be the bigger version of yourself. Well, going back to what you're saying, people do get intimidated, but I believe that's with everything in life, not just physicality.
Yeah, you got to careers.
It's this, it's that. Oh, I can't drive that. I can't do this. Like, of course you can. You're saying you can until you start putting your foot forward and start understanding, yo, what do I have to do?
We have to provide a safe environment. Right. That they know they can come into and that they're going to accomplish a goal. That's the most important thing. It's really, really important.
So 2-inch mats, so there's no less wear and tear. So do you have a lot of jumping in your workouts?
We do, but we can amend any exercise for that.
Okay.
If there's not a lot. We have specific days, 2 days a week we focus on strength. There's another 1 day specifically we focus on a lot of cardio movements, and the other days we kind of combine them a little bit so you get a good combination. So again, so your body is able to recover from the week. Even if you came every single day, your body would be able to perform the workouts.
When I was part of a CrossFit, Northeast CrossFit, shout out to Manny, he would post the workouts at midnight the night before, right? And based on the workout is how many people would show up. Do you have that here? Like some people like strength workouts, some people are like, what I'm
saying? We have an app, right? Okay. And they have to schedule the workout, and on the app it will tell you what we're doing. Okay. Not each individual exercise, but the muscle groups we're targeting. Okay. So they'll know, today is quads and hamstrings, or glutes and calves, or today's core with chest and triceps, or whatever.
But do you see a proliferation of like guys would probably do chest more?
No, we see the cardio it just thins out right away. Yeah. Absolutely see that.
Do you call that? Be like, hey guys, look, I know you guys are skipping cardio, but you need it.
We do.
Okay.
We do. We let them know exactly. Hey, we haven't seen you in a day or two, or we see that you're always missing this particular day, and you find out for some reason. Hey, some people say, well, I work late that day, or I work, early that day.
Life happens.
Okay, other things like that happen. But some of the people we know shy away from certain workouts. So, we try to keep them accountable. It's the biggest thing. Nutrition, exercise, and accountability is what your program has to have. Yeah. One of the things that I tell a lot of people is make a promise to somebody that you definitely do not want to let down. That somebody that you definitely want to, hold you accountable, and you do want to do everything you can not to let them down. I had a coach, Bob Gruskin.
Yeah.
And, when we were competing, at one point, it was more important for me not to let him down.
Right? Bobby and Alex. Alex was the other one. Yeah.
He was my physical therapist.
Yeah, I remember them.
So it was more important for me not to let Bob down than it was almost into winning the competition. Yeah. Like if I knew Bob was proud of me, it made everything for me.
He was your accountability coach, I mean.
Yeah, that was really
You got to find somebody you admire and respect to hold you accountable. Yeah. It's hard because if you find somebody that, they don't hold standard, or they,
I'll tell you a quick story.
Sure.
When I first met Bob, you know, we weren't that close, obviously. I just met him, but he would bring top-notch bodybuilders to my gym.
To your gym, okay.
Right, where you used to work.
I remember, yeah.
And he would bring these monsters in.
Right.
And I would always tell him, you know, Bob, I'm competing in this contest. He goes, oh, too bad. I'm going to bring one of my monsters.
And he's going to win.
And you know, he wouldn't say that, you know, I'm bringing one of my monsters. I said, so what? So I'm showing up, you know, I'm big and I'm strong.
Yeah.
And his guy would win.
Mm-hmm.
And this went on for the first 6 years that I knew Bob. And he would always say, oh, what contest you entering? I said, I'm entering this contest. He goes, oh, too bad. I'm bringing one of my monsters. So, you know, I trained and trained. Now we're up to the point where I started winning a few contests. So now all of a sudden I go to Bob's house. He's helping me with one of my preps. And I said, Bob, all right, we're getting ready for the Nationals, I think it was. And I said, so tell me, Bob, what monster are you going to bring? And he said, you're my monster.
Oh, nice.
Dude, I lost it. Yeah. I was like, really, Bob? Oh my God. You know, like that meant so much to me.
Yeah.
Like to me, it was like, all right, I don't have to compete.
Validation.
You know, it's just like, it felt like somebody, you know, and he had dealt with during some of the best bodybuilders in the world. Yeah. And him to sit there and say, yes, you're ready. You are one of my monsters. So that meant everything.
That's awesome.
You know? And it made me work so much harder because it is kind of individual and it isn't, because I feel you need a team together.
Well, you gotta feel something bigger than you, because it's easy to kind of like logicize, if that's even a word, yourself out of something.
Right.
Nah, you know this. Nah, I gotta do this. Nah,
right,
you know, I gotta work. But if there's somebody else pulling you, be like, hey man, no, he's not gonna hear that.
Right. If you and I are working together, I'm like, Omar, you can't.
You're not gonna hear me.
I'm here sitting waiting for you. You got to get your butt over here.
Right. You're not.
And Omar, what'd you do? You drank last night?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're hardly lifting. Come on, man. We need some motivation.
Let me ask you a question. I haven't had a drink in about 1.5 years. I stopped drinking. I feel a lot better. I don't think I felt bad. I don't think I had a problem with it. I just feel that as I get a little older.
There's no benefit physically.
As I get older, right?
Physically, there's no benefit.
What happened for me is that I just lost more time. Like you drink Saturday and you're out till like Tuesday. Like you're just not there. You're foggy. You're this, you're that. Your body's off. Do you feel like a lot of people, because the sober movement, they call it the sober curious movement, is a real thing. There's now bars are trying to figure out how to get people in with not drinking alcohol. They're coming up with caffeine drink. They're just figuring out creative ways. Have you seen that in your clientele, or are they more like status quo? They have the occasional drink. They're good.
Most people abstain.
Yeah.
You know, from it. You know, most people, you see a lot of them. Yes, you know, they have the occasional weekend that they go out and have a few drinks.
Right.
But the people who really get in great shape simply just don't drink.
Right.
And it's not an issue. It's not like they talk about it.
Yeah,
it's not like they miss it or say, oh, and they don't, again, it's hanging out the right amount of people. Right. They don't hang out with people that go out to drink.
Right.
They just don't go. Right. Like if you know you don't want to drink, why are you going to a bar at all?
Right.
You shouldn't be going to a bar at all.
And what do you tell people that they may have started a journey here and they're making like 180 degree turn, right? And they're like, yo, you know, my friends I used to hang out with, I don't see myself hanging out with them anymore. What kind of advice do you have for them? Because at that point you become more of a life, not a life coach, but rather a culture coach, right? Like, yo, what do I do now? Like, you know, this is what I used to do. What do I do now?
Right off the bat, get new friends, get better friends. I don't mince words. You know me by now. I'm like, hey, you don't need to be around those people.
Right.
You don't need to be around those people. You need to be around people, you know, again, build your army of allies.
Right.
Build your army that's around you where are going to go somewhere. Some people that have a higher standard, a higher wanting to live. Mm. You know, do you want to be with somebody who's going to be drunk the whole next day or sporting a hangover? Or you want somebody that woke up and let's go mountain climbing, or let's go, you know, to the park, or let's go to the beach, or let's do something, active, you know, instead of somebody like, oh, I can't get up until 12 o'clock, or, you know, all I want to do is eat and drink. You know, I'm not saying having a drink from time to time is bad. Yeah. But I'm saying the people who really abuse it or do it consistently, that shouldn't be something you do all the time.
They're on a hamster.
You know, it's like Friday comes, everybody wants to get drunk, and it's like, that's the worst thing you do. And at the end of the day, it kills your fitness.
Yeah. Listen, and when you're young, it's easy to do, right? Because I remember when I was partying, I'd come right to work. Just never go home and sleep.
Right.
Now it's a different story. In terms of coaching now, like I remember when I used to work for you, and this is the 90s, right, guys, just for context. And you had the same guys there. They showed up. Nobody called them. They had a lot of work. It was workout partners, right? There was groups. There was crews. They used to come work out together. And they were all there for each other. Now, do you feel it's more individualistic, where you're, as the owner, have to reach out more? Has that changed in terms of the business model?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, you have your core people that are really reliable, and they come in and they.
You don't have to call too much.
Right. You don't have to call, but again, it becomes with the beginners and people that struggle a little bit. You have to reach out to them and let them know they're not alone. Let them know that they're still capable of doing it, and spur them on not to quit. It's really, really tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. But we also have those capabilities now. As many years ago, I couldn't do that.
Couldn't text.
We have a program now that if you don't show up in 3 days, we get an alert that we know that you haven't been here in 3 days.
Okay.
So we can reach out to you. You haven't. We get alert after 30 days. How's your program going? And we could reach out to them and say, hey, how's your program going? How's everything going? Are you where you want to be? Do we need to sit down and reevaluate? Let's have a meeting. So we have all that. Back in those days, what did we have? We had
index cards
right at the front.
Pull your card out.
Right, you left. That was it. Yeah. That was the end of the deal.
That
Here,
was
you get registered in. You have the app. You register for your class, and then that tells us whether you're showing up, you're not showing up, if you left early, what those things are. If you registered and then also canceled, how many times you're canceling.
So basically creating a behavior profile.
Yeah, we know what's going on. And we also know what's going on in your life. It's your birthday. Oh, okay, you might have had some birthday cake, or you know what, today we're going to do some birthday burpees.
Right.
So
who doesn't love that?
We we go through all that kind of stuff.
Since you have the class setting, do you find like couples join together, groups of friends join together? Do you find that, or just a lot of individuals?
We don't have many couples.
Really?
Go together. Interesting. And we kind of, how do I say, we frown upon it at the end of the day.
Really?
Because this is your time.
Okay.
Like I want you to focus on you when you walk in, not focus on your partner. So let's say you join with your wife. Now your wife doesn't feel good. You don't, she doesn't want to come. Then you don't come.
Right.
We want you to stay religious and come. Take care of you before you can take care of anybody else. It's the airplane mentality with that, right? Put the mask on first before you can help anybody else. And we really, really advocate that here. Really say, hey, listen, this is take care of you first. When you're where you want to be, then also the other side of it is, this is where you're comfortable. This is your away from home. This is where you leave all your problems outside and you focus on you. You focus on your workout and your health. Okay. You don't have to worry about work. You don't have to worry about the house. You don't worry about what's going on. So that's what's really, really important. So as far as that goes, the couples we don't see. We do have a few group of friends, and usually one or two might stay. The rest don't stay. And you have let's go for a drink and let's go hang out. Or we could work out in the park, and they never do.
Nobody's working out.
They never do. Right. And the weather dictates whether you are or you aren't. So, that individual that comes in and really wants to change, when they've made that decision, those are the people that stay.
Okay.
And those are the people that we want.
So they're either making that decision because they've been shocked into it from a health scare, right?
Mainly it's,
or somebody else they know.
They've had it, I'll tell you another quick story. I had a girl one time, she made a tremendous change. And I asked her, I said, you seem so focused, like, what happened? Yeah. And she says, well, I was shopping for a dress and I went into the changing room. And, there was those multi-mirrors that are all angled. She goes, I looked up and I saw this woman in the changing room, and her body was horrible and she was really overweight. And I couldn't believe, I was like, my God, I never want to look like that. And then when I faced myself, I realized it was me.
Wow.
I was looking at a reflection of myself. And she goes, I left the store crying and called you right away. And she called me on the phone because she was upset. I was like, okay, what's going on? And she was, I joined there. She goes, I had that moment where she goes, oh my God, I never thought I looked and felt that bad. Yeah. She goes, and I was out of breath shopping for dresses. Just shopping for dresses.
They say when you look through a mirror twice, it shows you what the world shows. It sees you as the world sees you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard that story before.
I've never heard that, but that's it.
You look through the mirror twice, not directly to you, but look through a mirror to another mirror.
Yeah.
That's what the
I've heard you have to look outside the frame in that picture. But, sometimes you need a person to give you a reality check and say, hey, my mother used to tell me all the time, Butchie, I love you, but you're fat. You need to lose more.
How old were you?
It was after I won the Mr. America. So, I'm like, Mom, you know who I am? I'm Mr. America. And she was like, I don't care, you're fat. Fix that belly. You know what I mean? But she loved me. And it was true. I was fat. Okay. I got fat. Okay. So
admit it, right?
So you need somebody, again, that you value.
Yeah. Admire, respect. Admire. Those are two words that really resonate with me. You have to admire them for whatever reason. It doesn't have to be that they're physically
right,
whatever, or your mom, right? Your mom supports you. She tethered you to this world.
And I had a great mom. I had a great childhood. So, I had a magical childhood. So, so that meant a lot to me. And when mom said something to me, I was like, okay.
It resonated, held weight.
Yeah.
So back in the day, it was more individual in terms of bodybuilding was more of a individual type of journey. Right?
I still say you needed a team. Like well,
no, because you took it serious. So let me break that out for you a little bit.
Okay.
Like,
go ahead.
You were trying to become a Mr. America. You weren't just working out to lose your belly.
Right.
So you can't see your own blind spots. You need to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need objective opinion with people that have the actual capacity to break it down in terms that you can understand and accept. Right? It's almost like going to see a therapist, right? Like you see a therapist, he'll break it down or she'll break it down.
You need people who are going to be 100% honest with you.
And objective, right?
Right.
And again, going to people that went to school for it or have degrees so they carry weight. Right? Like your relationship with your homeboy, it's like you have a friend, right? And he can tell you everything is wrong with you, but he's a fucking mess. Right. You're not taking that advice. You're bro, get the fuck out of here, right? And so I was saying, you gotta be with a guy who takes what you're doing seriously, or girl.
The majority of people always say you look great. Oh, you look great the way you are, because they don't
know.
But they don't want to change either.
Right.
They want to continue what they're doing.
Right. So, and then let's use the word standard, right? What's the standard are you measuring by? Your standard?
Yeah.
No offense, I don't want to be measured by that.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's definitely individual. And back in the days, we didn't have a lot of access to each other.
Right.
We didn't have phones, and we didn't have the texting and the capability.
You had to meet up, guys. You had to meet up. I ran into somebody.
Right, exactly.
Shit, it's been years, yeah.
We didn't have any of that stuff going on.
Now we're very connected, yes. Absolutely.
So now it was a lot easier to say, hey, send a text out to a group of people, let's meet at the gym, and you're ready to go.
Yeah,
Back in the days, you showed up at the gym. If somebody was there, great. So you showed up no matter what.
Right.
So.
Because you were on your mission. And then, like, going back to you had Bob, you had Alex, because you were trying to take yourself to a level that you by yourself, you probably could have gotten there, but you want to curb the speed.
You know what? I don't think I could have gotten there.
Okay.
I would even say without them, I don't think I ever would have gotten there.
So you wouldn't have believed?
Well, yeah, they just kept me on the straight and narrow, and they helped me through injuries.
That's a big thing, injuries.
It's like, my training partner too. I mean, he pushed me. He was bigger and stronger than I am. I don't know if you met Nat Servino. We used to affectionately call him Pound Cake. And, I remember one time when we were training, and he actually tore his quad.
While training.
So he had to go and get it repaired. And I was getting ready for, I believe, the Mr. USA at the time. And so I came into the gym, and I was a little bummed out because I have my main man with me.
Yeah.
And I walked in, and there he is sitting on a chair with his leg all bandaged up, ready to go. And I said to him,
"So work out.
What are you doing?"
We're doing arms today.
Yeah. And he says, no. He says, you're getting ready for a show. You never leave your wingman. Yeah. I'm here to train with you to help you.
That's a big deal.
And he stayed with me every workout. He didn't train himself, but he spotted me. He helped me. He motivated me.
Right. He was there. He was in your corner. Having somebody in your corner is magic. Having somebody in your corner is magic.
And I won.
Yeah.
I remember I won the Mr. USA. So, and he was just as proud as I was.
Yeah.
So those are the people that I surrounded myself with.
Right.
The other people that I found that didn't have high standards, that didn't want to improve, that didn't want more for their future, I didn't like being around them. It's like, you just are happy existing.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. That's just not what I want to do.
It becomes a standard.
Even today, I want to continually improve. I want to experience new things. I want to have more things. That's how I'm built.
Right.
So for the people who just want to stay status quo, I don't want to be around those people.
Well, let's talk about people because, obviously with social media and the proliferation of immediate gratification, everybody says they want to work out. Right. Everybody wants to be fine. I'll give you one that I run into sometimes. Right. Like I'm very positive. Right. I've always been this way. I don't know why. And
it's because you work for me.
That's what it is. I met you, and that changed.
You worked in the gym.
And so what happens is, listen, we've all deal with our tragedy. Right. We lose people. We have our traumas. We'll use the words traumas. Right. But they don't define you. It's just a point in your life, and you have to keep moving. Then I've run into people that say they're positive too, But I have a new analogy. It's fake positive because any little thing triggers them. I'm like, bro, if you really positive, like that's a small thing. Why you stress out about it? Because they're so busy trying to think they're positive. They're really not. They're just trying to reprogram themselves, which is fine. But be real about that. They're like, yeah, I struggle with that. I gotta figure out a better way to handle that. Right? Like until you're willing to have that conversation with yourself or with somebody else, you will not change. You won't. And going back to just using training as a metaphor, until you're ready to look in the mirror and be like, yo, like that lady, right? And yeah, I totally do not like what I see. You're not going to change. You're going to legitimize, logicize, whatever word you want to put, insert there into why it is like this and why you're like this. But the simple fact is just your relationship with food, with your nutrition, with health, with your exertion has to change, you know? And then there's, you know, I heard Will Smith say this, I'm going to steal it. Like there's a really big difference between good and great. You wake up, I'm good. If you want to be great, bro, and you can use that for anything, business, health, whatever.
Absolutely.
You want to be great, you have to fucking change your relationship with shit. And that's my word, relationship. Like you have to have a different relationship with your money, a different relationship with your food, a different relationship with the way you use your time, and different relationship with people. Like I have friends and we don't spend that much time anymore. We don't have much in common anymore. And going back to reset, it's nothing against them. It's just I'm walking this path, right? And if you're not walking it, we're just going to have like conflict or we're going to slow each other down. Right.
There's different levels to it. Yeah. There's different levels and different activities and you have different habits and people after a while, you don't meet in the same circles.
Right.
Simple as that.
Or the other metaphor, right? We can all sit around tables. You don't have to eat at this table.
Yeah, exactly.
You eat another table and it's, and it goes back to your standard, right? You want to say this is cool. It is cool for you. It's not cool for me. So I'll be over here and you can be over there.
Right. You know, like they always say, if you want to become, you know, rich, hang out with millionaires. If you hang out with 3 millionaires, you will become the fourth. Right. You know, that sort of thing. I had lunch one time with my son and a bunch of other people, and you know, they had a great lunch and they were all talking about Netflix and talking about the show on Netflix and the Netflix. And that dinner, we had dinner plans to go to my other friend, who's an attorney, well-to-do guy, and some of his friends. So we met at his house. It was a multi-million-dollar house. And not that money is everything, but he was capable
of
narrative.
Just a narrative, right?
And as soon as he walked in, he started talking to Angel about building an empire. And he started talking about, hey, how many gyms do you want? By what age? And he was being specific. You know, and Angel looked at me and he goes, Dad, that's quite different conversation that we had from lunch until now. Yeah. I'm like, look who you're around.
Right.
This is who you want to be around.
Right.
You know, and they're all, each group are good people.
They also have their purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But, you know, you want to be around people who are going to attain things, especially if you're on the younger side. You know, you want to keep growing. I still want to keep growing. I still want to learn. Yeah. You know, so, you know, if you're not learning, if you're not progressing, I think progress is.
Well, going back, I don't know if you saw that clip I put up, right? When I first started working out when I was 16. I'm working out with you guys. I'm like, well, fuck, I guess this is normal, right? Because I had no basis, right? So I'm like, all right, we got to roll 100-pound dumbbells. That's what we do. And I'm fucking but you get somewhere fast.
I had the same story with Nat. Yeah. Nat was on you know, he was one of the powerlifters. I started training with him and I was like, oh my goodness, I got to try to keep up with this guy. Right. Then I realized he was ranked top 10 in the country. Right. I had no idea. And I started training with other people. I'm like, why is everybody so weak? You know, because I was keeping him in him. He had an 805 squat, 805 squat.
That is crazy.
You know, he used to bench well over 5. That's crazy. And I'm struggling with a 700-pound squat.
Yeah.
You know, meanwhile.
You think of your shit.
Yeah, I'm thinking like it's nothing, you know, and obviously you start training with other people and you're like, how much do you squat?
Yeah, now if you Google like the amount of people that can squat 700 pounds, you kind of see what kind of small percentile that is, right?
Back in those days, we didn't have Google.
Right. Well, going back, you didn't know what anybody was doing, right? You had to show up and figure it out and see what's going on.
And then back in those days, if you remember when we were training for a contest, we were all covered up.
Yes.
You didn't show anybody until the last day. That was part of
the ritual. That was the ritual.
That was the ritual. Now, everybody puts progress reports. So you see on you
go on muscle covers. Remember they call muscle covers.
Yeah. You're covered up to here.
Or even Dorian, right? Dorian Yates. He used to be in England with no internet.
That's how he got his name, the Shadow.
Right. He would show up. It should be a mess.
Everybody will look at him like, what the hell is this guy?
Maybe next year. Next year. Yeah. Even Ronnie Coleman. Like Ronnie Coleman would come and I've seen different interviews. They'd be like, yeah, I saw Ron, then he took his shirt off.
Who's your favorite bodybuilder of all the bodybuilders?
Arnold. But he's classic. Arnold is.
Oh, why? Because
he's tall. He's classic. You know,
accomplishment.
He started the trend
All right.
Yeah, that's what I feel. You know.
Yeah, I just think Flex Wheeler was one of the greatest.
Oh, he was
you know,
aesthetically incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I thought he should have won the Mr. Olympia, but you know, Ronnie was just too big almost.
Yeah.
But Flex wasn't that much smaller than he was, but he had the little waist, he had the structure.
Right.
So
He made it look nice.
Such a little side point.
No, he made it look nice. Listen, he made it look nice, but the
Yeah,
guy, he has no leg now. I think he cut his leg
Yeah,
off.
he had some,
He went through
he had
some
some
shit.
issues. Again, these are the things that guys do to risk your health. I mean, there's consequences.
Yeah.
You know, even though like I used to leg press over 2,000 pounds.
Yeah.
So, and I lifted really heavy weight, deadlifted tons of weight. And that's why I have knee replacements.
We were the only gym that had 100-pound plates. Remember?
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? These are heavy.
Yeah.
You go anywhere else, it's 45-pound plates. We're picking up 100-pound plates on each side.
And we used to put 200 pounds of time on a leg press.
Yes.
We used to go up 100 pounds,
Yep.
100 pounds,
Yep.
100
Yep.
pounds. You know, when I put them up for sale, it was like a madhouse. Everybody wanted them.
Really?
Everybody, if I pay you more, I pay. One guy paid quite a bit of money
For the 100-pound plates?
Yeah, because he wanted them in the worst way. He
That's
said,
awesome.
you can't find these. Nobody has them.
That's awesome.
I said, oh, we got a ton of them. We got like about
Meanwhile, going back to like not, you know, you don't know what you don't know, right? So I'm growing up around that. So I'm like, fuck, I guess this is what we do. Then I go to like, when they open up the golds and they have 45-pound plates, you're like, what is this, right? Yeah, like you're putting shit up and then, you know, like it's much more impressive looking because you could only put maybe 3 plates on each side. For me, that's 600, that's a lot of weight, right? In the regular gym, that's 12 plates. So then all of a sudden you look like you're a beast. But visually, you know.
Well, exactly. And that's why a lot of guys didn't like using it.
Yeah.
Now of the equipment that we had were in, you know, they had small weight stacks, but there wasn't a lot of pulleys.
No double pulley. No double pulley. That's the trick. Double pulleys are a fucking trick.
Yeah, exactly.
Make you feel strong.
They're a scam.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Double pulleys are a scam. So what would you tell the aspiring bodybuilder? Because now it's all social media, right? Now we were talking about Bumstead offline. We could say whatever we want, right? Like they created a division for him to win because he's more of a classic physique and he dominated it.
And even when you look at all his parts individually,
Yeah.
they're not that great. Together, he has the great small waist, the great wide shoulders, and he gets into phenomenal condition.
Right.
But when you look at it, like his biceps are horrible, his quads are high, you know, like his certain things when you start tearing it apart, it's like, wow. But when you put it together, it looks great. But there was a division basically created for that type of physique.
For him to win.
You know, and it's fine because the other open division got so big. But that's what happened in a lot of bodybuilding. They created all these subdivisions, you know, the guys with the shorts and I don't know. But it gives people who aren't like, you know, like I could probably compete in that now because I have new places I couldn't train my legs hard, but I'd probably be able to compete in something like that because I could wear shorts.
Right.
You know.
So from a business standpoint, it makes sense.
Absolutely.
Right?
And that's what it's all about.
We can include more people pay the fee, more people compete, buy supplements.
With the women,
it feeds the economy.
You have the bodybuilding, you have the figure, you have the, I think there's an athletic group, then you have the bikini.
Right.
And then I would, you know, go forward, which I'm going to probably get a lot of hate for this, was like, say 50% of the bikini girls don't even work out.
Wow.
They're just young girls that have gotten into the shape. And the local level contests. I'm not saying the Miss Olympia and all that, but the local levels, a lot of these girls are just young, beautiful girls. And I've gone up there and they have their great bodies. And they
say, I won.
Yeah. And they can say they won a bikini contest.
Right.
So, which is fine, but you didn't have all those divisions back then. Before I was able to turn pro, I had to qualify for every level. And it was hard, you know, novice, and you had to qualify for the open. From the open, you had to qualify to a regional. Regional, you had to qualify for the national. And then after I won the nationals, I had to get an invitation to go to the Mr. Universe. Wow. It wasn't even that you qualified. Now you have to get an invitation.
Right. So you have to sit there and wait. Quality of athlete.
Yeah. Today, how many people turn pro right away? Oh, I listen to it all the time. I'm a pro. Pro for what, you know? And they have the Mr. Universe. I think they compete. They have a Mr. Universe contest, I think in Manhattan or Jersey. Jersey. And I'm like, how can they have Mr. Universe in Jersey when only
Jersey.
Only Americans come?
Mr. Jersey.
How come Mr. Jersey?
That's Mr.
When I was there, you had the national champion of every country that entered.
Right.
You know, so and each guy's a national champion, so they're all phenomenal.
Yeah.
I walked into the Mr. Universe and I was like, oh my God, do I even belong here?
Yeah.
You know, it was amazing.
So now you have dilution for the sake of inclusion. Right?
It's a business.
Right. Okay.
It's a business and it has created a lot of healthy, affluent lives for a lot of people, which you can't really take away. And they're focused on that. So if you can help more people, why not? There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
And it's entertainment. You know, people like to be entertained.
Has the Arnold gotten bigger than the Olympia?
Well, I think there was an agreement, from what I understand, with Arnold, that he didn't want to give more cash prizes than the Mr. Olympia. This way, the Mr. Olympia stayed prestigious.
Kept these prestigious, right.
But I knew a pro back in the day. I was, good friends with her, Sharon Arlett, and she would always say, John Torelli, I knew really well. And they said, when you go to the Arnold, they treat the athletes so much better. And this is back in the day. Right. I don't know about now.
Right.
But they would have a room where they had their food. They had people there helping them with their pump up. They had people helping them with their tanning. They had people, anything they needed, they got. Yeah. They had all their expenses paid to get to the hotel. Mr. Olympia wasn't like that.
Just get there.
And then they just had a room where you just take care of yourself. So, it was the
experience, the athletes, difference, the Arnold.
Yeah.
Well, the Arnold was the fucking athlete. So he knows.
It was Arnold.
Right? I'm saying he was an athlete. Yeah. So he knows what was lacking. Right. So he's going to cater to that. And of course, that's what, now he has like the fucking strongman thing. It's a 3-day thing now. Yeah. It's like.
And they had the expo, even back then they had the expo. So all these, sponsors wanted to help the athletes too. So they gave them everything that they needed.
Right.
So the athlete walked in, they were treated like royalty. At the time, the Mr. Olympia wasn't the same. But it was still the Mr. Olympia.
Right.
So Mr. Olympia is considered the #1 bodybuilder in the world.
Right.
There's nothing higher than that.
Right.
So that's why they kept the
gold standard of bodybuilding.
A little bit. Right. Exactly.
Right.
Everyone's compared to Miss and Mr. Olympia.
Are there any more old school bodybuilding gyms that you know of? Bev Francis and Long
Island. That's a good question. There is a pro body in the Mamaroneck.
Oh yes.
Right. It's on it's 3 or 4 different levels.
Right.
And it's geared towards bodybuilding. I would say they got a posing room. They keep it really clean and pristine. Definitely give them a thumbs up.
Pro bodybuilding. We'll come to see you.
They're great stuff. I like them, and that's a good gym to train in.
Besides that gym though, that you know of, only because I can't think of one.
There's another one, I think, Mount Vernon Barbell. But I think that's more geared towards powerlifting.
Yeah.
I went there and I found it. I didn't care for it myself, and I'm not here to talk shit about anybody's program or anybody's facility, but I didn't care for it myself. But it's, from what I saw, it's more geared towards powerlifting, and I have no interest in powerlifting.
Right. Well, that's what it is.
Yeah,
it wasn't but they're open 24 hours, right?
I don't know.
I see guys working out there midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. Who the fuck works? I'm a morning guy.
Everybody's different.
Yeah. Some guys work out at midnight, 1 o'clock. I'm like,
I will tell you, like I tell everybody here, when you start training in the morning, you'll never again train at night. Once you start training in the morning, because once you know you can get it out,
set your day
out the way, and the rest of the day's on, you'll love that, and you'll never train again at night.
I think always being self-employed was kind of why it geared me to that, because I had to be.
You had to get it done.
I had to be available. Right.
Because once you got to your business, it took over a life.
You were gone.
You had no idea when you were getting home.
Right.
You have no idea. You got to get the job done, whatever it took.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, okay, at 5 o'clock I'm leaving to go work out.
Right.
No. So you had to work out first. And then
have the rest of the day, right? Yeah. I think that's the different mindset. And I think I spoke to you before off camera, where at certain times of the day you see different types of people at the gym, right? Like really early, you see the guys have to go get it because they have to get out the way and get to wherever they're going, whether their own company, work for it, whatever, right? Like the high performers, right? Then in the middle of the day, you got like the stay-at-home moms or I don't know, maybe like self-employed people, they kind of 10, 11, 12. That's kind of what I see at Lifetime. Shout out to Lifetime Fitness. Then,
now too, you have a lot of, social media creators and stuff. So that's a big thing too. And, thank God they can make a great affluent living out of that, and they'll wander in at that time. That's also when they could film a little easier.
Right.
The gym is kind of less crowded.
Right.
So they could film a little bit easier. So you got a different type of person as the day goes on.
Yeah.
The nighttime people come in, they're like, how you doing? Me sell those carbo drinks to wake those people up all the time.
Caffeine drinks with the shit, bro.
Yeah.
Caffeine. The type of shit that was going on back in the day, I'm sure if I dug deep enough now, I could still find stuff. But yeah, we taking all types of gas, bro. Just stated, like, it's ridiculous. Like for no reason. Just I could live harder. I could live heavier. Like, yeah. The nitro drinks, all types of shit, man. All the pre-workouts. So
I would, I would make a general statement. I just think we were a little tougher back then.
Okay.
just a little more resilient, a little more, you're willing to grind a little bit more. Everybody's looking for, I'm not going to say easier, but a better way, which is okay.
Yeah.
But we were a little more stubborn. We're like, okay, this is the way we do it, and that was it. You know, everybody's always looking for a better way.
It's almost like you're discovering a new frontier.
Yeah.
The only way through it is cut the weeds.
Right.
That's what we were. We had to, who the fuck knows what's over there? Let's go, right? Yeah. Now you have people that walk in the path and they're like, oh, well, if you look at it this way, and going back to what I said before, you can legitimize, logicize, that's my new word today, logicize any way you want to make yourself believe that this is the best way, but the results don't lie.
Right.
At the end of the day, like you look in the mirror, be like, yeah, is it the best way, bro? Like
your fitness relationship with yourself is the most honest relationship you'll have.
Yeah.
You're not going to have anything more honest. If you're doing the right thing, it will show.
Yeah.
If you're not doing the right thing, even though you think you are, it will show that too.
And the unfortunate truth, and I'll put myself on the ledge here, is that when you see somebody that obviously trains and takes care of themselves, there's an unspoken respect off the rip, especially with somebody else who trains, because you know that shit didn't happen overnight. You know there was some suffering. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in like you had to endure some shit to get there. And then you know that person's made of a certain cloth, right? It's not like...
Well, you know, back in the day, I had my opinion of somebody...
Today's show is called Back in the Day.
Back in the day, my opinion of a lot of people, like, you know, you would see that person that came in, and I don't remember Andy and some other guys.
Yeah.
And they never got bigger, they never got stronger. Yeah. They always kind of stayed the same, you know? And I was like, he's not working hard enough. He's not doing the right things. But now fast forward that, like I met him in a gym 30 years later.
Did you?
And he still looked great.
Okay.
And he still maintained his muscle tone. And I was like, to me, all of a sudden my mindset started changing. And then, wow, that's really impressive.
Right.
Because he's maintained his health all these years.
Right. Never too high, never too low.
Right. He just still consistent. Constant, right. And the consistency is what really impressed me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, that's pretty phenomenal. So while somebody is not looking to, you know, become a full-body beast or a monster and all that nonsense, but they want to stay healthy, there's a lot of people that do that, stay consistent. And I find that very impressive.
Yeah, I think that, you know, at different parts of our lives, you go through different phases that serve us, right? Like you can be super intense about something when you're younger because you don't have other things that you have to worry about so much. But as you get older, you're like, in the grand scheme of it, right, this is where that belongs, right? Like, and going back to us now, like longevity, for me, I love the fact that I can play pickup sports with my kids still, right? And I'm 50 and I can be competitive. Like they're not whipping my ass. I love that. That's, to me, is my win, right? Other guys, maybe not so much, but everybody has to find what's important to them, right? Their standard of living that's important to them, right? Like, especially raising men, right? Like raising men, they're going to try to test you. And you guys still let them know, no, I'm still top dog here, bro. I'm not, it ain't yours yet, right? I got to give it to you. So, yeah, like I use that as a metaphor because like people, they're like, oh, I want to. Like, all you got to do is start. And then the results are almost like you said, like a Roth IRA, they compound over time, but there's no skipping the starting and keep going.
Yeah, you got to start. You make a decision. And then at one point, if you need to change your life, you got to get obsessed.
Yeah. Well, right. If you want to
change your life, extreme change,
right.
If you're really out of shape, it has to become an obsession. Right. And then it'll happen.
It has to be a 180 away from that.
Absolutely.
And you have to be willing to leave that version of yourself behind. I got to speak to camp for this one. There's different versions of yourselves during your lifetime that will serve you well at certain points, but will disserve you later. You have to be willing to let those older versions of yourself go to embrace the new version. All right, Butch, we're going to work out now. Where can they get you? HIIT Room, where are we? Tell them, speak to the camera, please.
168 Sawmill River Road, Hawthorne, New York. You could always text me directly at 646-523-6018. It's called The HIIT Room by Mr. America. And we love to have you. Right now we have a 14-day for $14 special. You can try us out. By the same token, we're going to try you out to make sure you're a good fit. So give me a call.
You're direct to him. Hit him up at the HIIT Room. askluisomar on all platforms. I'm going to change now. We're going to do a workout. You'll see this later. Thank you for being part of the show. Thank you. My man.
Gotta do the explosion, bro.
Yeah, the explosion.
Don't do it.
Let's do it again. Oh, yeah, there's some more reps. Hold on, let's get back to it.
More what?
More reps.
Oh, more reps. I'm tired.
Here's for Jonathan Rios. Shout out to John.
Tired.